Hey there guys, Dragnoa here. Welcome back to a new deck profile. This time, we're looking at Raging Fall Reverse. Now, initially when this card was revealed, I think I was among the many people who absolutely hated this card. But after playtesting, wow, this card is actually not terrible. And is actually better than Rennie the Legion. So, yeah, let's get into it. So starting off, our trigger lineup really doesn't change from the last list I did a while back. You want to run 7 crits with the over trigger, preferably the Cray Elemental over trigger, because while the drive checks are helpful, I find that hitting the double 100 mil actually works out a lot better. 4 draw PGs and then 4 heal guardians, self-explanatory. Now let's get to where all this starts really getting crazy. Grade 3 res, we're running 4 Raging Form, 2 Slay Hex, and 3 Raging Fall. Now, you always want to ride Raging Form first, which is why you run the Slay Hex. But really, at the end of the day, what you want to do with this deck is swing a bunch of times and then go into Raging Fall, so that way next turn you could really hit them hard. But unconventionally enough, with the list that we're running, you can get up to a high amount of attacks. Like, it's actually crazy. So really, he's just an amazing combo extender. Really, I don't see myself taking it out of this. Maybe upping it to a 4 of, maybe, depending on how I feel. But overall, pretty solid. So then, grade 2 as we're running 4 mana. An amazing searcher for all our grade 1s. 3 Dark Bless, mostly because you don't want to see her that early. You want to wait until you hit Raging Form for her. 3 Tartu, because her skill is from place from hand, so if you end up having to call her off a skill, it doesn't really do all that well. 3 of the new grade 2 that got released, I forget his name, but he gains +5 if there's a grade 1 in the same column of him, so honestly really solid. And now for the grade 1s, 3 Mar because he's our Raging Form Searcher, 4 Reynolds because he's our Revenger Searcher, and 4 of the new guy because he gets us our grade 2s, and he also gets us more cards on the board when we ride up to grade 3, so yeah, honestly a really solid unit. Then for the G-Zone, we're running 3 Chain Ranker, mostly because by the time you need a 4th, you're going to be decking out. I don't think running 4 is optimal either, so let that be as it may. Running 2 Morfessa, mostly because there are some situations that she does come up. 2 copies of Phantom Blast of Diablo. I'm really thinking about upping it to 4 because most G-Guards won't have an out toward it. And if you manage to correctly set the board up or the situation enough to a point where they have to use G-Guards to guard it, most G-Guards typically will not be able to guard against it on its own, and thus it's going to require them to at least 2, especially with the bunch of force markers you put on Van. You know, this card actually really does win you a lot of games here and there, especially in this deck. Like, Jesus Christ. 2 Dragabis, really it could be another 4 copy. You could add another 2 copies of the Phantom Blast of Diablo if you want. I run it for the diversity. Also, there does come a time where your grade 1s start piling up, but even then, I've honestly been debating whether or not I should just up it. I should up the Phantom Blast of Diablos to a 4 of, because the most you'll get with the Dragabis and the late game will be, with this specific build, will be 20k off the ritual. So honestly, those could be 2 tech slots however you see fit. 1 Drag Strider because of its really good guard restrict. 1 copy of Spectral Blast of Diablo. If for whatever reason we can't go into Raging Fall, this is our next best bet. It's a restanding Vanguard that gets 4 drive checks. Hey, it's better than nothing at that point. And then for G-Guards, we're running 2 Plot Maker, just generically good. 2 Dark Veil because, you know, also pretty decent. And 1 Gelado because despite all the retiring you do, she will come up And I've had games where when I was initially playtesting, I wished I had her because she would have come up and then helped me survive certain attacks. So honestly, if you have the Space New G-Zone, you might as well just run it. But really, the reason why I love this deck now more so than I did before is really because Raging Fall. Raging Fall makes this deck really disgusting at times, especially in the late game. You never really want to ride it up, honestly, first grade 3 because you always want to go into Raging form, but I feel the most confident with this version of the list. Maybe I'll update it here and there, depending, but honestly, it's really such a solid deck. I don't see myself realistically not playing this at times. I'm really just looking forward to when it finally comes out in English and I'll be experimenting with a bit more. Maybe I'll find ways to make it better overall too, because I think if Mufasa ever gets hit, this deck is going to start rising up in popularity because it does what Luard was always meant to do and just create dangerous multi-attacks off of a unique win condition. And honestly, I think this deck is honestly amazing. Like, you know, this is something I wish we had back during the beginning of V in a weird way. So instead of me playing just Luard for so long, I could have had something on the side as well to mess around with. You know, and honestly, I'm just happy that Revengers are back in their former glory. Like, they may not be like top tier by any stretch of the word, but damn, this deck is amazing. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.